We started our partnership with NSRP in 2014. We've been working on basically 4 mandates. How do we build a culture of peace in Rivers State? How do we domesticate and implement the state action plan? How do we work towards the reduction of reduction of violence against women and girls? And then how do we see how we can promote engagement towards in encouraging women in peace-building roles and decision-making in the state?
If you go to our schools, most of our schools now, the population of the girls are even over and above that of men, because they have seen the need of sending their children, female children, to school. Apart from that, I thank God that in this community, when we started, women that were formerly not allowed to come to public, like the Muslim community and the Fulanis, but when they accepted the program, they sent in their women into the program.
Looking at the spate of violence and the restiveness of a good number of young men within Gokana local government area, I decided to approach all churches of all denominations within the local government, and I said to them, how about we give this a try? How about we take this task up, we take up this project, engage these young men who are cultists, talk them out of this, and if we could work together to eradicate cultism. We have identified the leaders of all the groups that are within the 19 villages that constitute Gokana. Last month, we now said it would be good to take these 57 leaders of the 57 group on a 2 weeks camp. And the camp will aim at taking them through trauma and memory healing process, and also give them an alternative model of leadership.
When we started this project, we did a lot of sensitization in the communities. Let me just mention the communities like in Ugeli North, where we worked in a community called Irumoko-Kware. We did a lot of sensitization on how to address issues non-violently. That when you want this employment, when you want this empowerment, there are ways that you can carry them out. There are ways you can engage with those that are in power. And we brought the youths and the stakeholders to a round table. And one of the information that was disseminated in the platform resulted in the youths in Irumoko-Kware engaging with some of those stakeholders. And now some of them have yielded results. Like for Irumoko-Kware, it has yielded classroom blocks for them. And in process of constructing that classroom block, they had the chance of employing some youths to carry out the construction and also do some manual work on site.
My name is Mrs. Patricia Young. I work with Inclusive Friends Association.
People assume that violence don't affect women with disabilities, but as a result of this research survey we carried out in Riom and in Bokos, in Wase, in a few other communities, and LGS in Plateau, it showed that women with disabilities are affected even in a more severe form. And it's worse because they can't speak up, they can't speak out on issues of violence because most of the perpetrators of this violence are their caregivers. We've been able to put together short documentaries too, where these women are speaking up on the cases of violence themselves. And these videos, we've blown it up on the social media, we've blown it up in research documents, we've shared it with UN Women, we've shared it with some key stakeholders. Part of our advocacy to the government is that, see, we need our women in the government. We need our women in positions of decision making where they can also speak on issues of violence on women with disabilities. And interestingly, recently, a woman with disability was just appointed as a member of the Disability Rights Commission, which was just set up by the Plateau State government.
Delta State Conflict Management Alliance is a multi-stakeholder platform established by the Nigerian Stability and Reconciliation Program in 2014. NSROP commissioned Global Peace through an agreement to convene critical stakeholders across the states that can support conflict mitigation and management, collaboration, coordination, and ensure that conflicts are resolved non-violently. Of course, if you are in Delta or maybe even in Enugu or wherever you come from, you must have heard me and my team on the radio talking about herdsmen and how we can mitigate the menace. And in some communities where we have intervened, we reached a communal agreement between communities and herdsmen. Out of the three major stakeholders, Abud Karim Moody, I forgot the other name, Dari Musa, 2 left and 1 remained. We actually did so much mediation, talking to herders, building herders' capacity to be able to engage constructively. Particularly in one of those meetings, we brought some people I never knew because on our search, like Jubril is of Miti Allah, and Jubril from our conflict-sensitive training was able to go to Okpare without even my funding and resolve Okpare and herdsmen problem.
Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education project on promoting youth employment and participation, which we did with the support of the Nigeria Stability and Reconciliation Program, NSROP, British Council, recorded phenomenal impact in the project areas. Because this project started in 2014, and in 2014, the project environment was a volatile and very violent one. You recall then that it was a time that the Boko Haram insurgency was at its peak, and you had several bombings here and there. Youths were being recruited into this extremist group, and so one of the phenomenal impacts I would say is that this project, in terms of the advocacy carried out, in terms of the non-violent component it stressed, helped to reduce the number of young people who were available for recruitment into these extremist groups. And if you go to the project communities, they would say a lot about the campaign we did called Stop the Killing. The Stop the Killing campaign was a campaign that had a radio component, it had a poster flyer component, and it had a component in which we went to the communities to educate these youth, to tell them about the fact that they should not be agents of violence, and that if the politicians want to use them as tools of violence, they should also see the fact that they have a future.